for me, the question is when we're creating the map and we're talking about the beginning and the end of the story, are we talking about the current existing story, like what a user like typically now, what they have to go through in the real world, or and is that what we're considering for our mapping?
So yeah, we focus on the current state, like what is happening to our potential target users at the moment. To also agree, it has been always the most confusing exercise. But the idea of the map is we try to identify a story path, is what we called it. So what I found in the past was confusing is that when we generate our own path for the user, everyone is starting in a different point and they end the story in a different point. And this time we try to introduce two extra pre-exercise to kind of bring it to more clarity. We identify the beginning of the story first and the end of the story first, like as a group. And then all the steps in between are more aligned or less, right? So that's the idea of it. So first part, I'll just summon everyone here. So let's just think about the beginning of the story. Actually, we can save time on this. So what I would suggest is we set a timer for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then everyone can write on the beginning of the journey and also the end of journey. We do it both at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Right, we just write in the journey begins.
I set the timer already.
All
So
right.
5 minutes, probably in 2.5 minute mark, you can remind the group and say maybe we should move on to the next one, the end of the story.
Okay.
But we are doing both at the same time, so feel free to jump back and forth.
Okay, if we can also move on to the, I don't know if other people are doing the end of the story as well. Yep, okay, cool.
That was time.
Cool. Okay, so then now are we doing the same clustering and creating the group names?
Did we just eliminate them, or is something we need to talk about?
Can color them, yeah.
Yeah, just color them. So I think we can do a little bit different this time. I would suggest we vote on the topic card, the category card, and then we can move the whole row after the top of the row to the map, and then it just serves as a reference or guidance to because we will still have to write our own first step, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, so now we're just voting on the entire column, right? So
the top group card, the blue one. I guess I will change this to another color.
So just the blue ones. You know, I'm gonna go with the classic 4 votes on this one.
And we're voting on the blue cards, right?
Yep, just the blue cards, and I think everyone's done voting already. All right, cool.
I was thinking just take the whole thing, like if you see what I'm doing on the right hand side.
Oh, okay.
So we just take that as a base, and then when we create our first step, we look at this whole column, and then we can create our first step, because in the end, all the cards in here are very similar.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're gonna do the same thing with the end story then too, right?
And here, it's not the end story with our ideal solution, it's the current end story, right? So it's like in the status quo, in the current journey, how do they end the story?
Cool, okay. Starting a voting session now. Okay. Okay, cool.
So that will be the next one. I just quickly created that. So yeah, so we will just like 2-3 minutes. Everyone put down their ideal users.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2, because we have quite many people just trying to eliminate the cards actually.
Okay. Okay.
And I think next step could be just group them together. Like we don't really need to have a group name or anything, but we can if you see what I'm doing, like we can just put the cards together if they are similar, like into a cluster.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there's any duplicates, we can also try to eliminate them. I think we are done. So if we just vote on the individual cards, I mean there are a few flowing there, but that's okay. After we finish the voting, then we can just add up the votes if it's the same group because they're quite similar. Let's just start a voting session and vote on the individual cards.
Okay.
Is that we have a group, this one, in total we have 14 votes. And then this group has like 7 votes. So we can actually take this whole group and then use that as like a general guideline for the user.
Cool.
That's how I would interpret it.
Oops.
So then the next step would be now we will actually, based on the predefined information, we can individually write down the user story. And the first step you want to do is write down your name in those black circles. So then claim your role. So now we have the information. So we have the start of the journey. And you just look at these vision connections, and then you can, based on those cards, and then come up with your first step of the user story, which then you will write down into the step 1. And then when we go to the actor, then we just look at the user group that we just voted on. And then you can identify the user based on that. And then, like I said, the discover, learn, and use are pretty much just as a guideline. So you're not limited to have only 3 steps for discovery and 3 steps for learn. It's not limited to that, but it's just use it as a guideline. But if you don't have 9 steps in total, it will be really great if you can space them out into roughly the same category. So have your use steps in step 7, 8, or 9, and then if you have a learn step, then try to keep them in more or less the right order. So when we do the voting, it will be a little bit easier for us. And the goals, then we want to look at the end story that we got voted on. So use this group and then based on that information there.
Cool. And just an example of the discover, learn, use, is that, so that's discover would be like when somebody goes on to like a search page or something and then finds out about like a link, or they see a flyer on, or they see a poster, or like it's like the very first time that they actually start to see something. Yeah, learn, how do they find out more information about it, whatever it is, and then yeah, using it at the end. How would someone use whatever that it is?
Yeah, just one point. I'm seeing, Adele, that you are writing already as if our platform existed. The platform doesn't exist yet, so we do not put here the person goes to the platform and registers, because our platform doesn't exist. So it could be that they go into other platforms right now, but it's not to our futuristic platform. It's still the current status quo of people that want to find a tribe. How do they do it now? Do they go to the neighborhood? Do they search, and then in a Facebook group they find, and then start contacting people there? Yeah, so it's on currently with the current solutions.
Looks like it's being wrapped up right now. Maybe a couple adjustments are being made to where the positioning of these steps are. All right. Yeah, starting with you, Sandy. You have the first row. We'll just go from top to bottom. If you could read out your user flow.
Okay, so I went with the people who wants to create impact.
The tribe with a shared purpose and actually wants to stay long term.
All right, we have everybody's read out. We have some awesome steps here.
So there are 9 steps. So you give every single person 10 votes.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
if one of your votes should go towards the whole flow, and to do that, it's just vote on the first blue card on the left, on the actor, the
Okay.
first blue card. And then the rest of your 9 votes, you want to put 1 vote on 1 column, basically.
All right, looks like votes are in. Let's check it out. Okay, cool. Now we can see kind of a heat map of all the different votes. And it looks like Laura's user flow had the most votes with 6 actually, because people voted on the inside part and this outside square as well. So yeah, let's see. And then for the individual steps, can someone help make those a different color? They should be just the highest voted ones in each column. Okay, so then we have in step 4, the online jungle can be difficult to manage. Okay. Step 5. Cool.
Jason, when you want to turn off the little circle on the top right corner, you can just click on the voting section button, where you normally start a voting section, and then there's a high votes function.
Oh,
So you,
cool.
in case it's blocking some of the text.
And so then, okay, then I can, okay, show votes, hide votes. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay. So then now do we get rid of the cards that have no votes on them?
Yeah, I would suggest you do that. So I already put a duplicate at the bottom just in case if we need to get anything that we missed afterwards back. We have a copy. So
Okay.
next step would be just delete anything that has no votes on it. But don't delete anything on the flow that has the most votes, because that will be our base.
I see. So then keep this whole row together. Yeah.
Make them
Actually, it
closer.
fits quite nice if we keep this path and just add the 3 gaps that there are, then we have it.
Yeah. So we could just move things together a little bit closer, because the map doesn't mean that we only need to have one single path. We can also have different steps. So I think I'll move the one voted ones a little bit to the bottom.
Okay.
Because those are more individual opinion in a way.
This is just, we just need to do it to kind of clear it up so that we can see the user flow nicely. Yeah, we have all these 1 votes, but then, yeah, it's important to kind of gather these together. And
then I'll move the other ones towards the bottom, so it's nice cutter. And I think that should be our map actually. So I just want to move it all to the top here. So basically, that's our little map there with the white box.
cool. I think that this map is the one that's makes the most sense out of any map I've ever done in a design sprint.
Oh, that's positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, even I did a boot camp with John Zaratsky, one of the authors of the sprint book, in Los Angeles, and when we did the map too, I think a lot of people were like, what are we doing? Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
cool.
Hey, thanks for that feedback. That's cool. Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it was good to choose one journey and then see what complements on the journey. And yeah, it's clear rather than just take every individual post-it and try to put it together. Very nice.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I will just read through each of the steps, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Person wanting to make impact, or the person initiated their first project is the end goal. All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds good. Cool.
So the next step is we want to place our top voter How My Reads onto the map. So like this is the first How My Read that we voted on. And then you just need to think about this, how might we fit the best in which steps of the map. And then you just move your mouse cursor and wiggle it a little bit. So the first one is how might we bring people together with a common purpose and end up staying together as a tribe. Which do you think this how might we belongs to in the map? Move your mouse cursor slightly and keep moving it. So I see most of them around here. So next one is how might we. I put it over there.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So remind me which of the how might we is actually the most top voted one.
I think it was this one, the how might we bring people together with a common purpose and end up staying together as a tribe was the top voted one.
Okay, so that could be our main target then.
Okay.
And then we have the 2 supporting target. Normally we have 2 supporting targets because they are the less for the how might we. So what I would do, I would just place them into around this area. So we have a main target, which is actually, I would say it almost covers the 2 how might we's. So what that means is like when we think about our solution, we want to focus around that area. And then we have 2 supporting targets. And by supporting target, it just means that, like, let's say if you are creating your solution sketch or something, you focus on the main idea, but if you can also incorporate some of the supporting area or supporting target in your solution, that will be even better. Then it just makes your solution even richer. So like the focus is the main target, but if you can even incorporate more using the supporting target, great, that's awesome. So, but you don't need to. Yeah, I think I'll just move it to the bottom because we have all, so that we can read them. That's it.
Very nice. So it was not confusing, the map at the end. Looks clear to me.
Yeah.
Great. All the description, all the instructions is in the mural outline.
Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
On the right side, when you click on this outline section, Sandy's done a great job of writing in exactly which part, and then it zooms into the part of the map.
So you see on the number 8, it says that like where the top how might we or the most how might we's are is the main target.
Actually, I have to be honest, I'm still a bit confused from this map. I mean, with the outcome that we have, but there is a positive point from my point of view because it opened my mind for also thinking about other directions for a solution. So
cool.
It served a purpose.
Yeah, it does.